Have you ever felt like you didn't belong in the room, even though you earned your place to be there? That is called imposter syndrome. And you may know this already, but it's costing you your leadership. And anything that is limiting your leadership is keeping you away from your dream. In today's conversation, we're talking about leading yourself out of imposter syndrome. I'm going to talk about 3 simple strategies to build your dream life, knowing that you are the one chosen to do it. It's great to have you back for another conversation on the Dream Lifestyle podcast. If it's your first time here, you're in the right place at the right time, because in order for you to achieve the dream that is in your heart, you're going to need to become a better leader. And everything that we talk about here has to do with becoming the leader that our dream life requires. And so you're in the right place, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, whether you're growing a business, building a ministry, whatever it is that you're doing. We're talking about a topic, that little voice in each and every one of our heads that challenges our identity. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how to lead ourselves out of the dangerous trap that is imposter syndrome. And the thing about imposter syndrome, it does not matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you're trying to build. Each and every one of us has an encounter with imposter syndrome. And one of the mistakes that we can make as builders is that we only label the fact that we are dealing with imposter syndrome, but we don't go far enough to figure out, how do I overcome it? And so in this conversation, I'm just going to be sharing with you 3 very practical strategies that are going to help us not only build our dream life, not only become the leader that we need to become, but we'll be able to build in such a way where we know that we are chosen to do it, where we know we are the ones called to make it happen. And so let's dive right into today's content as I'm talking about how to lead yourself out of imposter syndrome. In order for us to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, the first thing that we must do is we need to increase your positive self-talk. Each and every one of us has a constant conversation going on with ourselves each and every day. You may feel as though you talk to your friends all the time. You may talk to your homegirls all the time. You may feel like you talk to the fellows all the time. But I guarantee you, you talk to you more than anybody else. And if we don't have our self-talk in line, and when I say in line, I mean aligned with who we're called to be. I mean, we don't have our self-talk aligned in a way that is positive. We can end up settling for in our lives. And we need to make sure that we are evaluating our self-talk, specifically making sure that it's positive, making sure that it is aligned with our dream. It's aligned with who we are called to be. And so many of us, we have a negative self-talk that goes on constantly in our brains, and it's keeping us away from the life that we want to live. And we live frustrated. We live confused, trying to figure out, why are things not better? Why are things not moving the way? Why am I not getting the results? And it's simply because we don't have enough positive self-talk. So in order for us to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, the first thing we must do is increase your positive self-talk, because it helps us simply believe in ourselves. It helps us stay in a place of confidence, because positive self-talk anchors your identity. So yes, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, but positive self-talk, not even verbally, I'm not even talking about just what you may say to yourself in the mirror, but in terms of just that inner conversation you are having with yourself, that positive self-talk will anchor your identity. It prevents you from shrinking back. And the only thing that negative self-talk is going to do is going to lead to hesitation. It's going to lead to inconsistency. And you're going to just be second guessing your decisions, always in a space, always in that gray area that is imposter syndrome. And so when we think about this concept of increasing our positive self-talk, there's 2 things that you should be very intentional with speaking positively about. The first thing is that we are speaking positively about our identity, meaning that inside your head, you are talking about how you are qualified. You are talking about how you are the one. You are called to it. You do have value. And you want to make sure that you are intentional with just, again, evaluating the inner conversation to making sure that it is only positive things being said about who you are. Secondly, you want to make sure you're intentional about that inner conversation about your ability. So it's not only just saying I am able. It's not just saying I am capable. It's saying that I am good at this. It's saying that I can do fill in the blank. And again, this is not anything you might say verbally. This is deeper than just some positive affirmations. This is about, again, the conversation you're having with yourself. And in order for you to lead yourself out of imposter syndrome, you need to be having a consistent, positive self-talk reel about your capability, because you are able. But if you don't tell yourself, you are going to settle. So those are the two things that we want to be intentional about talking positively about. Now, it's not only important that we increase our self-talk in terms of what we're saying, but I also want to encourage us to talk positively at a specific time. So I want us to look at when we are saying these things. And so the right time to really reinforce and anchor our identity so we can lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, twofold. We need to talk positively when we feel uncertain. And this is crucial because as builders, we're building a reality that we haven't seen, because that's what living by faith looks like. We're walking by faith and not by sight. So we are trying to build something that doesn't even exist yet. We're building something with little support. We're building something with few resources. And we have to make sure that we keep the vision in front of us by having a positive self-talk. So it is vital that when we emotionally feel uncertain, we are still speaking positively to ourselves about our identity and our capability. Now, that's only one feeling. You want to make sure you're talking positively about yourself, to yourself, when you're feeling uncertain, but you also want to make sure that you are speaking positively about yourself and who you are and what you're able to do when you are afraid. So it's not enough to say, okay, when things are uncertain, when I don't know what the next step is, but you also need to take that step of faith and speak positively and reinforce who you are and what you can do to yourself when you know what the next step is, and it's probably something you haven't done before. Whether it's an offer you're launching, whether it's a meeting that you're leading for the first time, or it's an event you're planning for the first time in your ministry, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're very intentional with speaking positively about your identity and your capability, even when you're afraid and you see the next step, you see the opportunity, you see the open door. And so when we think about just this overall point of leading ourselves out of imposter syndrome by increasing our positive self-talk, it's not only just thinking about what we're saying in the sense of we're talking positively about our identity and our capability, but we're also being very intentional with when we are saying these things to ourselves. And we want to make sure that we're saying these positive having these positive self conversations with ourselves when we're uncertain and when we are afraid. And so here's the thought that I have for you, just to kind of button up this point. Your leadership will never rise above your self-talk. In order for you to build a dream that you are looking to have, in order for you to live the life that you believe you're called to, if your self-talk is in a space of settling, that's all you are going to see. And in order for you to lead yourself out of imposter syndrome and lead yourself into your dream life, you need to increase your positive self-talk. So that's point number one. Secondly, when we want to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, you want to surround yourself with positive voices. Positive voices can change your life, but if you don't surround yourself with them, you miss out. Because if we're being honest, there are some moments where it's hard to even be kind to ourselves. And that's why if you have the right voices, specifically positive voices around you, you can do what's called borrow some faith. You can have some people that will remind you about who you are. You can have some people that will remind you about what you can do. And in those moments, it'll be exactly what you need to keep building. So understand who you listen to. Who you listen to will shape your leadership. It will shape your leadership, specifically, watch this, your belief system. Because a belief system is basically a conglomerate, a combination of a bunch of smaller beliefs. And if you have any type of self-doubt, if you have any type of uncertainty about who you are and what you can do, your belief system will be limited. And so when you surround yourself with positive voices, again, you will be making sure that your leadership belief system is in order. Again, the Bible talks about how faith comes by hearing. So that means if I am only hearing negativity, or I'm only hearing failure, or I'm only hearing what isn't going to work, or I'm only hearing about challenges, then that's all I'm going to see. That is where my faith is going to stop and be capped at and be limited at, because that's all I'm hearing. So we want to make sure that we are hearing the right things and we have those positive voices to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome. And so when we don't hear the right things, we can become isolated. So that will leave us basically vulnerable to things like self-doubt, false narratives, and things like that. I'm sorry to interrupt the conversation, but I wanted to take a moment to let you know and personally invite you to this year's Dreamer Symposium. On December 5th and 6th, we're hosting a leadership conference for you to create vision for the new year and grow in your self-leadership. So whether you're looking to climb the corporate ladder, whether you're building a business, or you're growing a ministry, it is important that in order for you to succeed, that you have vision and you lead yourself well, which is why this year's theme is resilient leadership, because it's not about what's happening to you, but it's about what you can make happen in your world. And you need to know that you are built to overcome. And in these 2 days, you're going to learn how, because resilience will be necessary. Because for you to build the life that you dream of, you're going to need to overcome some things. And so I would look forward to seeing you there on December 5th and 6th in Jackson, New Jersey for the Dreamer Symposium. Now let's get back to the episode. Now there's 3 points that I want to share when it comes to surrounding yourself with positive voices. All right. Now, again, I want to be very specific and granular with this because I want us to be intentional with how we are structuring our lives. Again, Ephesians talks about live your life according to your call. So that means we must intentionally build our lives according to what we are called to do. So number 2, when we think about surrounding yourself with positive voices, these voices should speak positively, number 1, about your goals. So there's a bunch of layers to this, but again, you should be sharing your goals. You should be sharing and talking to other people, trusted people, about what you are looking to accomplish in terms of what you're looking to do in a week, what you're looking to do for the month, what you're looking to do for the year, whatever it is. But your goals should be in a place where it's with trusted voices. So that way, those positive, trusted voices can speak positively about your goals, meaning that they are just rooting you on. They're checking in, holding you accountable, and not in a hold accountable like, taking you to task, but holding you accountable in terms of just keeping you encouraged, because again, you're surrounding yourself with positive voices. Because when there are moments when you become so uncertain, you become so afraid, and you just might need somebody else to just check in on you. Hey, you said that you were going to do that last week. How did it go? Hey, you said that you have this big meeting coming up. How's the prep going? How are you feeling about it? And those are the conversations that open the door to elevation. So number 1, your voices should speak positively about your goals. Secondly, the voices should speak positively about your commitments. Now, this is where accountability gets real. This is where, when you think about, if you talk to a friend of yours, whether it's a business partner or it's a significant other or just a friend, whoever it is, coworker, you want to make sure that these positive voices are talking to you about your commitments, where they're holding you accountable, saying, hey, now you said you were going to do that. Where are you at? What's your progress? And this is the type of hearing that we want, because again, it's all helping us become formed and shaped into the leader that we need to be so we can live the dream life that's in our hearts. And so these voices should speak positively about our commitments, meaning that they are rooting us on. They're holding us accountable to what we said we're going to do, because we need to, again, lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome by honoring our commitments. And the way you do that is by surrounding yourself with positive voices that will talk to you about those commitments. And then the third and last thing that the voices should be speaking positively about is your potential. So they're not only telling you about who you are, they're not only talking to you about where you believe you're going, but they're also simply reminding you of the life that you're called to live, the difference that you've been designed to make. And if you don't have voices in your life that remind you about your potential, then I would encourage you to get into some rooms and try to find some people who recognize, hey, there's something in you more than you could ever even imagine, more than you think. Like, you want people that stretch you. You want people that have you thinking more of yourself. You need to surround yourself with people that have you asking yourself, am I? Like, is that for me? Like, I don't know. Like, you have to think, you almost need to have like almost like a Gideon moment when the angel comes and says, hey, mighty man of valor. It's like, wait a minute, I'm the least man. Like, I have no experience. I've never been to college. I've never been put in this position before, but you keep calling me that. Like, are you sure? Like, maybe you want to have people around you that have you get curious about your potential. And so when you surround yourself with positive voices, you are just keeping yourself anchored in who you are and what you can do, because you're not only having the conversation in your head about these things, but you also have people from the outside, trusted voices, who are reinforcing those same things. So that way, even when imposter syndrome tries to get you and you're starting to have those thoughts of self-doubt and you're asking yourself the question of, well, am I qualified? I don't know if I'm good enough. And you're asking yourself these questions. You have enough deposits in the mental bank. You have enough people speaking into you where you're able to shake that thought off because you're like, no, it's impossible, right? Like, and that's what you get by having yourself surrounded with positive voices. So here's the thought to button up this point. You need people who are going to remind you who you are when you forget, because there will be moments where things get tough. And if you don't have the right voices around you, you will stay stuck. If you don't have the right voices around you, you're going to be staying in a place of uncertainty. But it's only when you surround yourself with the right voices. You might need to borrow some faith, but more importantly, you'll just simply be reminded of who you are and what you're called to do, so you don't stay in a gray area space of imposter syndrome. And then point number 3, when we want to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, you want to set deadlines for decisions. Now, the first 2 points that we talked about are mental shifts, but this third point of setting deadlines for decisions is where we get super practical, because for some of us, you just need to power through that thought of imposter syndrome. Some of us, you need to almost put pressure on yourself to make a decision, because the only thing imposter syndrome is going to do is it's going to cause you to hesitate. It's going to cause you to delay. And when you make the decision to set some deadlines on some big time decisions, now you are putting yourself in a pressurized situation where you can be the diamond that you've already been created and destined to be. And so practically, whatever it is that is swimming in your head, whatever the self-doubt, imposter syndrome thought is that's in your head, you need to set a deadline on the decision that directly combats the enemy trying to speak negatively into your life, because you've been made for this moment. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, you've been built for it. And so this idea of setting deadlines for decisions, the only goal of decisions, the benefit, the product, the effect of making decisions is momentum. And so when you consistently make decisions, you're going to create momentum and build self-trust. Because when you stack up enough evidence against whatever that little voice is in your head that is imposter syndrome, when you build up enough evidence, it's easier to combat that negative voice and increase and improve your self-talk. And you only get that by making decisions, because action builds confidence. Hesitation feeds imposter syndrome. And so here's 2 things, and I mentioned them a little bit, but I want to just really lay them out flat to you so you can write them down. Okay. And I encourage you to take notes if you're not. All right. Take notes, because what's written down is remembered. Decisions create, number 1, evidence that you are able. Now, this is important because this is deeper. This is more impactful than just saying some positive affirmations in the mirror. This has to do with you going out, putting your hands on something, doing something to where it directly combats that negative voice that asks you, are you sure you're able to do that? Where you went out and you went to the gym X number of days, whatever the goal was, where you went out and you presented and you spoke in front of the crowd, or you went out and led the meeting, whatever it is. When you actually do that, you are creating evidence that you are able. So that way, when the voice of imposter syndrome starts speaking to you, you have tangible evidence, not conceptual, not anything empowering or inspirational. It's like, no, hard, concrete evidence that I'm able to do it because I got feedback on whatever it is I did. I got the result I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to get, but I got it. Good things happen because I made a decision. So I have some evidence. That's what you get by setting a deadline on your decisions. And then secondly, as I mentioned, when you set deadlines on decisions, you are creating momentum towards who you are called to be. Decisions are the one thing that is truly going to separate those that are good from those that are great. And if you want to lead yourself out of imposter syndrome, I want to encourage you to start making decisions. Get out of the gray area, get out of the uncertainty, get out of the middle space, and draw a line in the sand that says, hey, I'm going to decide to do this. I'm going to decide to go there. I'm going to decide to put myself out there, whatever it is, but make sure the action is directly combating the voice in your head that is imposter syndrome. And so here's the thought. You turn down the volume on imposter syndrome when you make decisions. Simply put, it's as plain as that. If you want to lead yourself out of imposter syndrome, yes, I want you to increase and improve your self-talk. Yes, I want you to surround yourself with positive voices. But this is the most important point. I want you to start making decisions so you can have momentum to becoming who you are called to be. And when you do that, when you stack this evidence and you're creating this momentum, you will understand not only actually having tangible progress towards the business that you're building or the ministry or, the titles and letters behind your name, whatever it is, but you're actually going to do it in a way where you're confident in yourself, where you're not questioning yourself at every step of the way, because you are making decisions and creating momentum, because you got this. You got this. I believe in you and I know that you're able. And so overall, just as a quick recap of just our conversation, because again, I want you to get this. If we want to lead ourselves out of imposter syndrome, number one, we're going to increase our positive self-talk. All right. We're going to talk positively about our identity, our ability, and we're going to make sure we do these things when we feel uncertain and when we feel afraid. Secondly, we're going to surround ourselves with positive voices. And these positive voices are going to speak positively about our goals, our commitments, and our potential. And then third, we're going to set deadlines for decisions, because decisions create evidence that we're able, as well as decisions create momentum towards who we are called to be. And so I hope that this conversation was helpful to you, because I certainly had a blast talking about it, because you got this. No one else can achieve what's in your heart, because you've been called for such a time as this, and I believe in you. And so all I'm going to ask you to do, as a favor to even indulging in this conversation, all I'm going to ask you to do is one favor and one favor only. Send this to somebody else that you know has a dream. Send this to somebody else that you know battles with imposter syndrome, and you know it's time for them to overcome. So I'm grateful for you all, truly, from the bottom of my heart, for just looking to grow in your self-leadership. Whatever it is, just know that I support you. I'm praying for you, and you got this. Now, remember, whatever it is that you're building, whatever dream is in your heart, it's possible as long as you're willing to grow for it.